Wednesday. And for more as we get ready for tomorrow's historic hearing, I want to bring in Jeff Bennett. He is an astronomer and author of multiple books on the possibility of life that is not from this world, including Beyond UFOs, the search for extraterrestrial life, and its astonishing implications for our future. Thank you so much, Jeff, for being with us this morning. Is another anecdotal account enough to move the needle in tomorrow's hearing?
Well, unfortunately, I don't think an anecdotal account will be enough. We would need hard evidence to really move that needle.
And do you think we'll get it?
I would be very surprised if we do, for a variety of reasons, but I also want to make sure we focus on why this is such an exciting topic for people. And I think there's an opportunity with this hearing to focus on that we live in a time when a lot of us fear for the future. If we had definitive evidence of another civilization that survived and prospered, that would be a role model for us. It would tell us we could do the same. So maybe, even though we won't probably get the evidence we'd like to get at this hearing tomorrow, maybe we can use it to try to move away from some of the polarization and other things that are hindering our progress today.
What do you think? Should more high-level personnel be called in to testify? I mean, we've got 3 whistleblowers, but should some within the Pentagon or higher levels within the U.S. military be part of this for people to pay attention?
Well, I think the bottom line is that no matter how many eyewitness accounts you have, they're never going to serve where the hard evidence that we need. So bringing in more people to talk, if they point us to hard evidence, that would be great. But what we really need to see is that hard evidence.
Leslie Kean, an investigative journalist and author who was on Elizabeth Vargas Reports last night, said that there is some basic information about UAPs and UFOs that the public has a right to know. Here's part of what she had to share.
About this technology, we don't want our adversaries to understand how it works. We want to keep that to ourselves because it's very powerful and very sophisticated. But I do think it's time that the public should be allowed to know what some of the basic facts are. Just the fact that the objects are real. And if indeed we do possess an intact craft, as has been reported by whistleblower David Grush, right, I believe that's something that we can also share with the public.
What do you think, Jeff? Might there also be plenty of reasons that this information should continue to be classified? And what do you think those reasons would be? Well,
the reasons that the government want to keep it classified has to do with the detection technology that we're using. But I think that, I'm certainly in favor of being as open as possible. But, the United States is 2% of the Earth's surface area. If we're being visited by aliens, the United States would not be the only country that would have this type of evidence. So you're talking about a global declassification thing or a global conspiracy to hide this, not just the U.S., which I find a little hard to believe.
Right, which I'm glad you brought that up, because one scientist, as I was reading more data about this from Columbia, said UFO sightings are largely an American thing, that this type of conversation is not happening globally. Does that mean it's not happening elsewhere, or there's not the fascination? What's your take?
Well, I think the key word in UFO and UAP is unidentified. And we all see lots of things that we don't know what they are. They're unidentified, they're unexplained. And the question is, what's the explanation for them? And one possibility is aliens, but another might be ghosts, another might be your brain misinterpreting data that's coming into it. So I think it's important to realize that, aliens are just a popular explanation here in the United States right now, and only for the last few decades. That doesn't mean that they are the explanation for it.
Have you, in any of your research, reading, and data gathering, seen anything that is definitive on this question as to whether we are alone? Is there a there? And if so, what is that piece of evidence that you just can't shake from your mind that there is something we need to know more about?
No, and I think the way that science works is if there were some evidence that were that strong, it would be out there for all of us to see, and we'd all agree on it. In fact, one of the purposes of science, I would argue, is to be able to look at evidence and come to agreement. That's how we hope we come to agreement on how gravity works, how the atom works, how climate change works, and so on. But we don't have anything like that in this case. Now, we do have lots of scientific evidence about what's out in the universe, exoplanets, the things that other planets are made of, the stars they orbit, and so on, that tell us that it seems as of now that it's quite likely that there are other forms of life out there, other civilizations out there. But whether any of them are visiting us, that's the evidence that we're lacking right now.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.